Kane and Company is adult in nature and is not suitable for all audiences. The content of this program is one that a truly free society would not attempt to censure or suppress.
Good evening and welcome to WPRO. My name is Dave Kane, and you and I are going to be together until 10 o'clock tonight talking about whatever is on your mind. And I have an idea, I know what that is. But I invite you to join me, and we will talk about the happenings of days past, and also maybe we can sit down and chat a little bit, you and I, about how we feel about it and what we think is going to be the result of this, and what we think we think. Many people don't know what they think yet. So before we even begin, I would like us to do this. I would like you and I to just quietly sit back a little bit and through your nose take a big, deep breath. Hold it, and then slowly release it. Now let's calm down. Take a couple of steps back, and then decide what we want to say and what we want to think about this. The reality is that this has been a tumultuous historical event for this country. And the bad news is that we have many unfortunate responses. Those responses, of course, ill-conceived. They are all, I know, a result of fear. Anger is the result of fear. Finger-pointing, fear. Saber-rattling. Challenges, charges. Get everybody that looks like that guy out of the country. It's all fear. And it's sad. You know, the people in the Middle East, as an example, have lived under this every day of their lives for years. I guess, to some extent, you get a little bit calloused to it. Even in something like this, you find yourself flipping through the stations, even in this country, in the brief time that this has happened, you find yourself flipping through the stations and maybe just finding something on cable that is not talking about this to give yourself a little break. Let yourself kind of come down a little bit, loosen up, release. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to talk to me tonight about what you think, what you feel, what you see, what you hope, what you don't hope. And you and I will be together until 12 o'clock. The phone numbers to call till 10 o'clock, 3 hours, till 10 o'clock. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. That's 1-800-321-WPRO. And star 630 on your singular wireless. Magic Juan is answering the phone today, as usual, for moi. I appreciate having Juan here, the voice and the mind of reason. And you and I can chat and talk about any and all aspects of this. I will tell you, however, as my lines begin to fill here, I will tell you that we are not going to suffer fools. Inciting to riot and crazy rhetoric will be challenged. But I want you to speak openly and honestly about what you're thinking. And we'll try to muddle through this gently ourselves, okay? All right. First up is David on the car, WPRO. Hi, David.
How are you this evening?
Yes, sir.
My question is about what went on this afternoon at the train station.
Yes.
Truly, it's a question. What went on? What authorities made the mistake, if it was a mistake, in relationship to whether or not the gentleman they apprehended truly was involved.
Well, first of all, I mean, we've heard that he was not involved, but I'm not sure we can depend on that yet. However, from what I understand, the police in Boston charged, the Weston up there.
Right.
And allegedly some men got away, and allegedly they got onto a train, and they called Providence. Providence stopped the train, and so far it seems like this was a false alarm.
Huh.
Simply put, that it was a false alarm.
Wow.
And I think there was a lot of panic down there in the sense of some of the civilians, acting rather scurrilously.
Yeah.
And idiotically. And so
how you could I guess you don't wonder how you could make a mistake. You could see how that
of course the mistakes are going to make. This is why I wanted us all to take a deep breath tonight. Let's back up a minute. Let's relax here.
That's why I started off with this, because I've been wondering, you think, wow, the authorities have got to be on top of this.
No, they're not. I mean, they're not. And, they have had no more experience in dealing with this than you and I have. I mean, they've grown up in the same country you and I did, with the same experiences. So they, and panic sets in, and fear. On the other hand, there's also the fear that they're going to drop the ball, so they don't want to make any mistakes.
Yeah.
So they may be overzealous on some things, as we have seen in this town and other occasions.
My impression is that this stayed local, though, because I didn't see any of this on the national news.
It wasn't that I saw it yet, because I think they realized it was some kind of a mistake.
Good. Well, that's good for us.
All right. Thank you, David. Cheryl is in the car at WPRO. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. Two thoughts I just wanted to share with you that have been running through my mind is 4 years ago, I had the distinct pleasure to go to the top of the World Trade Center, Tower, I guess, 1. And it's a long time to get up there. It's like waiting in a Disney line. You actually can wait up to an hour to get to the top. When you do, it's a silent sort of experience. A lot of thoughts run through your head, and it's the people, the immigrants that came to this country that helped build that building. It's the sheer pleasure that I can stand 100 feet plus in the air and not be afraid that I have a country that has a wonderful defense system, and that I can be safe and go to the top of the building and experience something that's just so breathtaking. And it's just awful when this happens.
I know, it's a very hard thing to deal with, especially all of your life, when all of your life you have enjoyed these freedoms. You don't understand what this is about. You realize that the great part of this world has to deal with this stuff every day.
I've traveled overseas once. I went to my father's home island in the Azores, the island of Fayal.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed very much being there. But by day 9, which was a 10-day trip, I realized that I am not even half as protected in this island as I am in the United States of America.
Well, I think that'll stay like that. Let's realize that things have to find their own level, and we need to just stay calm a little bit, and we'll get it back together. Okay, Cheryl?
That's right. But
all right.
We have a sincere, my family at least. I mean, 4th of July is a big celebration
in
my family.
Thank you.
And we know it's in honor of the servicemen, and we have such distinct trust in them. And I don't think that's wavered, but we've just been violated.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Eric is in the car in WPRO. Hi, Eric. Eric, shut your radio off. You're on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm calling because earlier you said that it was unfortunate how our reactions and how they were based in fear. And I don't understand what you mean by that and how we're supposed to react. Why can't we defend ourselves? What are we supposed to do?
I didn't say anything about that. I said that the reason that we respond the way we do is because of the fear that we feel.
What do you mean by that?
Sorry, Eric, if you're not going to shut your radio off, you have to understand, to start with, how a radio show works. You've been told to shut your radio off, so I'll shut you off. But thanks very much for my time. Bill is in the car in WPRO. Hi, Bill.
Yeah, how you doing, Dave?
Good.
I want to talk about something probably a little less heartbreaking, but have you noticed almost a real palpable change in culture or in climate?
I don't know what you mean.
Or just in people in general.
Like what?
It just seems that people are a little closer now. You know.
Well, this happens whenever there's a tragedy like this. I mean, you'll find this happening. People realize how petty they are, and they realize that push come to shove, all of this doesn't make any difference anyway. When you get something tragic like this that happens, you realize the other stuff is really pointless.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, I used to be one of those guys who, behind the wheel, I was one of the ones who would pound the steering wheel and mutter little things.
Oh, sure.
I don't find myself doing that now.
Yeah, well, maybe that's one of the good things that's going to come out of this. You know, one of the things in our country that, the good and the bad, the good news is that we've never had to experience anything like this. And maybe that's also part of the bad, because we have not had a real vision of what the world can be, because our shores have been so safe.
And I'll tell you, we will get over it.
Oh, she will get over it, and we might have to revamp a little bit, but we'll make it happen. Thank you, Bill. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Be sure to shut especially if you're on a cell phone, please shut your radio off when you call after Juan clears you. Okay? Let's think a little bit about this. You know, this is what it is. It is fear that we're feeling now. Now, it might come out in the form of rage. It might come out in the form of this, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And boy, if I was on that plane, I'd do that. Well, you know, that's a great scenario to suggest. Reality sometimes brings you up short. There are many things to decide about this, and I'm going to ask you to share your ideas with us, and maybe we can decide what we think together. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on your singular wireless. I'm Dave Kane. This is WPRO Radio, live and local tonight, with you until 10 o'clock, and I invite you to get on the line and tell me what you think, and we'll share it together, okay? Alrighty. Okay, lots of people on the phone, and all of them from the car, so we'll get right to it. Jody is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Jody.
How you doing?
Good.
I just wanted to comment on how sad this all is. And the one biggest thing that I think everybody needs to realize is not to turn against each other, because I live in Rhode Island, and even in my state, we have one of the nationalities of the same people that is getting accused of doing it, and he's even turning against us, throwing bread at us and everything else. And I think what's going to happen is everybody's just going to wind up stop fighting each other, and it's starting a war in our own country.
Yeah, it's really too bad. This isn't about the ethnic background of the people involved. It's about their politics and their attitudes on other things. We made a terrible mistake. It was mentioned this afternoon by a caller on Dan's show, which was that, we made a terrible mistake by, as an example, interning Japanese Americans during World War II, deciding that everybody that looked Japanese must be a bad guy.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, and it was just hideously stupid, and we haven't learned from that yet. We haven't learned that this is about individuals, regardless of what their background is.
Exactly, and I was listening onto the radio also that I guess a lot of fighting started over in Indiana in regards to the nationalities and everything else like that, and I think what is going to happen is they might be, the other countries might be laughing at what happened now, but they're going to be laughing more when we all turn against each other and we're just fighting each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got to remember that we got to be together on this. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you.
Gail is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Gail.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Good, thank you.
I just wanted to make an observation as I went out last evening and this morning and back and forth to work today, that I am finding people to be so much more considerate of one another. Number one, on the roads, I was finding that I didn't even want to drive on our highways anymore, because people were in such fits of rage all the time, angry, not wanting to let one another by, just really inconsiderate of one another. And I have found a huge change in that, and I hope that we all start to treat one another so much kinder. Yeah,
it would be nice. Unfortunately, I think that probably as we get further and further away from this, things will go back to the way we've been. But I think you're right. I think that we've had a bit of a wake-up call in our emotional state, and maybe we'll balance out a little bit. It would be nice, huh?
Absolutely, I hope so. I hope we never forget what happened yesterday.
Oh, I don't mean forget, but I mean you have a tendency kind of, you know what I mean, the further away you get from that accident.
Oh, I agree with you, absolutely, but we still need to, I think we had stopped just looking at one another as human beings and treating one another with kindness. I really think we had on the whole.
All right, Gail, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Frankie's on a car phone on WPRO. Hi, Frank.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
Yes, sir.
I just want to call and say, I thought it was amazing last night how there wasn't any rioting, looting, or anything else down in New York City.
Actually, there was.
There was?
In Brooklyn, there was a brief report. I don't know how much it took place, but there was a brief report that there was some rioting in Brooklyn. Excuse me, not rioting, looting in Brooklyn.
Looting?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
And also there was some gas gouging, gas price gouging, and I forget where it was now. Is that Midwest or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you always got that fringe, haven't you? You know? But overall, you're right. I think that we really showed ourselves
anarchy.
Yes.
Last night in New York City. I mean, you take one of the toughest cities in the world.
Yep.
It really could have been lawlessness.
Well, except that you're right. Except that something like that, that'll get your attention, won't it?
Yeah.
I remember I was watching this when it happened the first time. Of course, after you watch the videotape rerun 50 or 60 times, but I was watching it when it happened, and I was in absolute shock.
Yeah.
And you know what my first thought was? That there was some kind of a problem with the air traffic control in New York. And that they had the planes flying too low. That was my first thought. Because I thought, well, maybe in the first one I thought, well, maybe the pilot had a heart attack or something. And then when the other one went in, I thought, there's got to be something with the air. I never thought of a terrorist attack. Never crossed my mind.
No, and then there was that moment of time where it seemed like planes were just dropping out of the sky.
Yes.
And know if every plane on the eastern seaboard was going down at that point. But,
all right, Frank, thanks a lot. Bye-bye now. Kobe's on WPRO. Hi, Kobe.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to call up, and, I'm listening to some of your callers talk about how people are suddenly being friendlier and a little more considerate. Well, what I want to say is that I just moved into New England, or specifically Rhode Island, about 5 months ago. And it wasn't until yesterday that I've actually had a stranger on the street actually say hello.
Oh, is that right?
That didn't know me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, people say that people are being friendly. Well, you know something? People are like that all around the country. All right? And, I feel bad that it actually took this kind of a catastrophe for people in New England to realize, there's the bigger picture out there than just New England.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot bigger out there than just my corner or my part of the state, or this is how we do it in New England.
Where'd you come from, Cobe?
I moved here from Los Angeles, believe it or not.
Oh, L.A., yeah. Well, that's a nice warm place.
But I grew up in Washington, D.C., okay?
Uh-huh.
So I'm used to people moving in, and I'm used to people that are always new, people from different cultures.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
So you learn how to reach out and how to accept people's differences.
That's a great thing about living in D.C., isn't it? Because of all of the different...
If you think you've seen diversity, go to D.C. I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
You will learn that and I'm a Caucasian male, that living in D.C., I'm a minority.
Oh, sure.
You learn how to handle that. You learn that there is a bigger picture out there.
Well, I'm glad...
It's not about me and what's in my house or in my wallet or around me in my car.
Yeah.
You learn that the neighbors next to you are actually nice people, whether they're from, in this case, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Egypt, Israel, or whoever.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems. What's one of the problems, especially people who haven't traveled a little bit, there is a tendency to kind of think, well, they're different somehow. And one of the things I've done on this radio show when I've worked on the air is just try to explain to people that we are all more alike than we are different.
Just starting to listen to you the last couple of days, I really appreciate that, and I like that. The longer I'm here, I find myself turning into what I've walked into, but yet, on the other hand, I refuse to change, and I refuse to assimilate into the typical New Englander.
All right, Cobb. Hang in there, okay?
Absolutely.
And welcome.
I hope people look at the bigger picture, man.
And Kobe, welcome to New England.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Star 630 on your singular wireless. Mary's in Coventry on WPRO.
Yakshamosh.
Hey, Yakshamosh, I got something nice in the mail today.
Well, I'm glad, because it's such a sad time that I was glad to do something nice.
Well, it was nice of you, and Juan and I are going to go out to the Burger King together, and we're going to have a sandwich. How's that?
And Dave, because of you, I feel a little better, but I'm very, very sad.
Yes.
Awful, awful news.
Yes.
Terrible. That's one of the worst things in my lifetime.
Well, honey, remember that this too will pass, and we'll get through this together as we've gotten through We got through Pearl Harbor. We've gotten through all kinds of awful things.
You and all the fellows and females on the radio that are trying to help us feel better.
All right, honey, thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye now. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. Stay cool. Relax. Let's chat, you and me, okay? Okay, on the half hour, we're going to take ABC News, give us an update on what's happening and the progress that they're making in the cleanup and the recovery of bodies, etc., and in New York. And then we will be back to talk more with you. The phone number to call is 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. That's 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on your singular wireless. We're going to go to New York and get some updates. I invite you to stay. You and I will be together until 10 o'clock tonight. Magic Wand answering the phone. So let's talk a little bit and try to bring ourselves down and understand exactly what's happened and how we can be better from all of this. Okay? ABC News is next. All right, you have the phone numbers, and we invite you to get on the line and talk a little bit about what you think, what you're feeling. And so far, we've had people making observations about a kinder, gentler United States, at least in the days immediately following this terrible tragedy. We have to realize, as I said earlier, that so much of this comes from fear. So much of this comes from people's inability to cope with the threat that their life, if not lost, is going to change. Is really going to change. We are going to see an unbelievable change in our country on a lot of levels, not the least of which will be security checks, not the least of which will be tougher to get around than it used to be, I think, because of the precautions we're going to need to take. Steve is on a car in WPRO. Hi, Steve.
How are you?
Good.
I see all the revelations coming out now about the breaches in airport security, the use of subcontractors that don't get paid as much as some of the McDonald's workers get.
Yep.
And I'm wondering why this is any surprise, since we have a lot of people that travel and can see this firsthand.
Well, because I think it's like everything else that you see. Steve, you and I go through airports and we go, or any place, and you say, now why are they doing that? But you don't make it your life's work to fight it or change it.
No, but when you look at the people, Dave, you travel.
Yeah.
When the people that you're going through the baggage checker, the X-ray machine can't talk English, brother.
Well, never mind whether they can talk. That's immaterial whether they can talk English. They may not be able to speak proper English.
How do you think they're working that machine?
Well, what are you talking about? You think you got to be able to speak English to work that machine, Steve? You can't speak their language. Does that make you stupid?
No, but
All right. Oh, why not? Why not? Wait a minute. Why not?
Well, wait a minute.
Why do you have to speak English?
Don't realize, think you know where I'm going.
Well, and don't start with they can't speak English. They speak English properly enough for what they're doing, for what they're getting paid for. Don't start with that silliness.
But wait a minute. This is a problem. These are people of the first line of defense.
No, it isn't. It isn't a problem. Here's the problem, Steve. The problem is they are not properly trained, number one. Number two, they are not properly paid. Here's a suggestion for you. Let's say the FAA takes that over. And the airlines, instead of training and hiring these people themselves, the FAA does it. And the airlines pay the FAA for the service.
That's not the way it works.
No, that's the way it's going to work.
Okay.
That's the way they're going to change it now.
Okay.
How about that one?
That's not the way it works now.
Well, duh.
The airport authorities hire these guys.
Yeah, no kidding, Steve.
Contract.
Yeah, no kidding, Steve. That's what I'm just talking about. So we change that now.
But the point I'm making is, why is over the last day or two all this a big expose? Now,
it's not a big expose. I mean, we've known this for a long time. There's been constant, 60 Minutes has done reports time and again of being able to get by airport security. Look at Patrick Kennedy. He's the only one who couldn't get by. All right, Steve, thanks a lot. All right, bye. 437-0630. Chuck is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Chuck.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Just something that's going on across the country tonight.
I haven't heard it mentioned on the radio yet, but at 9 o'clock, they're asking everybody to put a candle on their front doorsteps to remember everyone that is working to recover and everybody that was lost in the explosion.
Oh, is that right? When did you hear that now?
I had got an email today at work.
Okay, so at 9 o'clock, people are being asked to put a candle on their front doorstep.
Correct.
Okay, great.
All right.
We'll pass it on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Bye. 437-0630. 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your Singular Wireless. One of the things that gets me nuts, and this is one of the things, by the way, that goes into Americans being loved as much as they are in the rest of the world. You know, being so charming and endeared by others. When people say they can't even speak English, like somehow that's the keys to the kingdom. You know what I mean? Like somehow being able to speak English is the key. Let me remind you of something. Jesus couldn't speak English, or didn't. Okay? So let's not start that silliness about how they can't even speak English. Somehow that's some kind of, I mean, these people speak English a hell of a lot better than I speak their language. So let's not let that... See, this is why America becomes so endeared and charmed by the rest of the world. That elitist foolishness that just because you can't speak English, you must be a dummy. So first line of defense is maybe backing up on this foolishness. D is in a car in WPRO. Hi, D.
Hi. I actually didn't think I'd get through. I've never done this before.
Okay, well, you're through. You're on the air. What can I do for you?
I wanted to call for a couple of reasons. One of them, I wanted to thank you for immediately squelching that comment about not being able to speak English.
How silly. Yes.
It misses the point.
Yes.
There's so much more going on than this. Actually, I'm going to stop my car. I think what we need to focus on is joining together, whether it be spiritually, physically, etc., and fighting a force that is, you know, people who do not understand what this country stands for, freedom.
Well, you know, not only that, they don't understand that this country was built by people who couldn't speak English.
Exactly, and to try and concentrate on who doesn't speak English or who looks different when they dress.
Yes.
Is going to create a situation where we're going to turn against people who are Americans and who stand for, you know, who believe in what this country stands for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have some of the people here where I work, which I won't talk about, who I'm actually concerned about because their names are funny, because I know they're Muslim, but their parents were born here, and they are here. And so we need to really, really be very careful not to focus on those things about people looking different, because do you understand the chaos that would, you know, this place would be reduced to if that were the primary concern?
Well, it's just hideously stupid, and you've said it well, D, and I thank you for calling. Now, see how easy it was to be on talk radio? Thanks a lot. Call again, okay?
Thank you.
All right, John's in the car in WPRO. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
I'm a little irritated. I understand that gentleman's point was a little absurd to go, you just can't judge people by the fact that they can't speak English. But I think it's our political correctness, our desire to embrace everyone, no matter what the threat, that put us at risk.
No, I don't. I disagree.
You don't think...
I totally disagree.
So you don't... When was the last time an American strapped a bomb to themselves and walked into an embassy?
But that has nothing to do with our willingness to accept all... You know, you remember the Statue of Liberty, John?
Yes.
Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. This country was built by people not like you, John, and not like me. You're a white man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people built this country that had nothing to do, and made it great, had nothing to do with being white and American.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Well, then why would you suggest that because we were kind enough and smart enough and opened enough, just because somebody takes advantage of it? I mean, that's like saying I'm never going to give to charity again because I once gave to a charity that ripped me off. So therefore, I'm never going to give to any charity ever again. That's silly, isn't it?
Well, actually, your argument seems silly to me.
Really?
You keep arguing that people who don't speak English shouldn't be considered stupid because you don't speak their language, but you haven't moved to their country. You haven't tried to assimilate with their culture, their world. They come to this country They come here and then expect us to understand their language, their dialect, and we somehow have to dumb down our knowledge and our understanding to their way of thinking, and that doesn't make sense.
Who they? All of them, John? Do they all think that, John?
I'm not.
John, how many people come to this country, learn this language, work very hard, 2 and 3 jobs, get property, save money? How many doing it, John?
Plenty.
How many?
Plenty.
All right, so shame on you for saying they want to do this.
No.
So you're going to run into some of that.
No.
But for you to make a general observation like that is unfair to everybody.
When you walk down a dark alley, do you...
Yeah, I want to make sure the guy that sticks me up is speaking English.
No.
That's what we have in this country, John. We want the robbers to speak English. I want to be mugged by somebody who's talking English.
You're saying that you don't discriminate, you don't use your own judgment to keep yourself safe in a situation in which you feel uncomfortable? You don't look at somebody and say, geez, I think I should avoid that person because maybe I'm not... I don't think it's racist. I think it's intelligent discrimination. I think it's called safety. I think it's called, I need to put myself in a position in which I'm not going to have harm done to me.
Well, good for you, John. Enjoy your life, John. Enjoy your life, frightened to death.
All right.
Frightened to death. Tom is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Tom.
Hi, this is Tom calling, first-time caller.
Good to have you, Tom. What's up?
All right. I'm enjoying your show. I just wanted to make a comment about the pilots and the airlines. I'm sure they have rules of conduct in the event of a hijacking. And probably in the past it has been to land the plane where they say to and, for the safety of the passengers.
Right.
And now it seems that the rules have changed because if they're going to take over the plane and use it as a bomb, then perhaps we can think of it differently. That, number one, it'd be nice if they could seal the cockpit so that it was unable to get access to the cockpit. And if they start threatening, the crew or the passengers, then there's nothing the pilot can do to help those people. They need to have the responsibility of flying the plane where it's...
And how safe are you going to feel flying under those conditions?
Well, I think to allow the hijackers to take control of the plane in the future after what has just happened is what we are afraid of might happen again.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem. I think that no matter what process we put into effect at that point, you're going to find people who can get around it. I mean, that's how they look at this what they amazingly accomplished, right? Yeah. And we had, even without, forget the fact that, you got $7 an hour people looking at baggage, this was not done that way. I'm gonna tell you that I think that this was an inside job on several levels. And that these people didn't just become passengers and walk in.
Right.
But that aside for a moment, let me suggest this to you. You're a pilot, okay? You're sealed in that cockpit. And there is a hijacker in the passenger cabin with a 7-month-old baby in his arms and a razor blade. And he says, I'm going to slit the baby's throat if you don't come out of the cabin. What are you going to do?
Well, I guess, you have a choice.
I know. What would you do?
Maybe or losing 20,000.
Well, I don't know if you will or not, but let me ask you this question. Would you allow them to kill the child?
Considering what just happened yesterday, yes, I would.
You would.
I think my responsibility would be to...
And if you think that he's going to kill the baby, you think he's going to stop there?
Okay. If he has a box knife, do you think that 80 people can overpower 3?
Well, that's another conversation. First of all, they were alleged to have mace. They were alleged to, this goes on. And again, it can get escalated all the way around, right? To look at these specific scenarios and say, well, these guys should have been able to overpower, etc. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't think, most people are not trained in combat. They're not trained to even fight. They're paralyzed with their own fear of loss of their own life. That's what these guys depend on. They depend on overpowering them, frightening them, so that they won't make the attempt, right?
Yes. Well,
it's okay for you and I to sit here like a couple of guys and, Monday morning quarterback on this thing. But the reality is that if there's a way to keep these guys locked in that cockpit, there's a way to get them out. And that's just the reality of the world. And I got to tell you, I don't know what I would do. I think that I would opt to try to save the baby's life and hope for another opportunity in the next 4 minutes, whatever that would be.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with what you're saying because you're talking from your compassionate side.
Well, not just my compassionate side, but I mean, I have a better shot. Do I not have a better shot at, for instance, and then we're going to stop this because this is getting off on a crazy thing, but do I not have a better shot opening that cabin door and trying to lead a charge against these people than just letting the baby die, knowing that the baby's only the first person to die, and then it's the next one, and the next one, and the next one, so that I'm now flying a plane full of dead bodies.
Right.
I mean, we can and then you can come back and give me an opposite scenario, you know. So I mean, it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not.
No matter what it is. I mean, and I don't think we're ever going to come up with, well, here's how we do this, and because the same kind of masterminds that pull this sucker off, and hate them as you will, this was a tremendous operation.
I have to say I'm impressed, even though I'm
absolutely as horrified and as awful it is. It was a tremendous operation.
Okay, but this will make them rethink the process because they do have rules of conduct.
Right.
In the event
they got to change that. Absolutely, you're right, Tom, and I agree. And I thank you for your call, Tom. And call Talk Radio again, will you please?
Enjoyed your show.
Thank you. Steve is on WPRO. Steve.
I called earlier.
Yeah.
And you painted me as the ugly American.
I didn't paint you with anything. You said they can't speak English.
No, I answered your question when you said, what about people? They're not the people walking through the lines aren't evaluating the people that are manning the baggage checks. And I said, well, the first thing to wake you up is they can't even talk English.
Yeah, okay. Steve, listen, we've already been through this.
Wait a minute.
Steve, I am not here to make your case. Call another time, thanks. You know, I'm not here to do this with you, Steve. You know, you made the point. Forget about it. You're not an ugly American, okay? Go make it someplace else. I'm not interested. Patricia's in a car, WPRO. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi.
I just have a comment to make. Your parents, grandparents, where did they come from?
Why?
Did they learn to speak English when they got here? Or did they go to school with English as a second language?
Yeah, all of that has got nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, Patricia. Those people were not here, Patricia. The people that committed this were not here to assimilate into our society, were they? Were they? The people who committed this act were not here to assimilate into our society, were they?
Of course they were.
They were? You think they came to assimilate into a society so they could fly a plane into a building? You think that's what they wanted to be?
They came 3 days ago?
Right.
And jumped on a plane?
Okay, Patricia, thanks very much for your generosity and your hatred. We love to have it. Love to have it. Craig is in the car at WPRO. Hi, Craig.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
Good.
I just had a couple of comments.
Yes.
One of the comments you just made to a gentleman on the phone about when he mentioned about sealing the cockpit off and you had given him a scenario.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't it be wiser to try and have that guy stay in the cockpit and maybe land the plane?
Absolutely.
And everybody else into the top floor?
Yeah, you're right. And I don't want to get into all of this long, make-believe stuff, but I was just trying to assimilate. And my point was to say this. I have heard for the last 2 days on talk radio, everybody that has the answers to the security. They should do this, they should do that, and my only point is that as soon as you have that, you're going to have ways to get around it.
Right.
Okay? That's my only point. So it isn't.
I don't disagree.
So trying to put that fire out. So trying to put that fire out after it starts is not where we ought to be talking. We ought to keep the people out of the woods with the matches.
True, but you have to try and start somewhere.
Oh yes, absolutely, and but I don't want to be second guessing anybody, certainly, But I mean, the biggest problem here, I think, has been the fear factor of the people on board, and you can understand that.
Right.
Absolutely paralyzed. Even if they could, first of all, I don't know you, okay? You and I are on the plane together, all right?
Right.
I don't know you. How am I going to get you to know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to think? I mean, this is not a paramilitary group on this plane. It's a bunch of strangers.
Right.
They're not organized. They're not going to be able to... As a matter of fact, the only people I think that did this was the plane that went down,
Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, where they decided, look, we're going to die anyway. Here's what we're going to do.
Correct.
But it was only... I think it was allegedly 3 or 4 guys that did this or tried to do this, and then look what the result was. But still, they may have saved the Capitol.
Correct.
They may have saved the White House.
One more comment just quickly on the thing about people speaking English. It doesn't make any sense, and I agree with what you're saying, where you can't nitpick people because they don't speak English, but wouldn't you say that if you have somebody running the terminals that speaks English, that they might understand?
Oh, I agree.
A little bit better.
I absolutely would prefer to be able to communicate with someone at the terminal. There's no doubt about it. And especially in America, I understand that point. But this is the root. You see, what we're hearing here, Craig, is the root of this hatred that has gone into making some of the problems we face today.
Right.
Because this underlying belief, now whether people want to admit it or not, that if they don't speak English, they're dummies. And we have that little piece of us that says, oh, they can't even speak English. You know how many times I've heard that on this radio show? They can't even speak English. And not even talking about people serving us.
Just not people saying they're dummies. It's just that
that's what it is.
Not understanding everything.
Well, I know, Craig, but it is insinuating they're stupid or don't care. And so it's not a compliment, is it, Craig?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not a compliment. And
let me hold you there. I'm running out of time. Give me, okay? All right, thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
John is in Johnson on WPRO. Hi, John.
How you doing, Dave?
Yes, sir.
I just think instead of all the saber rattling, I think we ought to be doing some soul searching.
Yes.
To why the U.S., first of all, was targeted, why the particular buildings were targeted, the center of militarism in the world, the Pentagon,
and commerce, sure. Yep.
The World Trade Center.
Yep.
The chickens have come home to roost. Fact is, in the last 20 years, if you look what America's done in the world in terms of, we act as though we're somehow being picked on in some way because we're the symbol of a so-called democracy. When you look at the countries we've invaded Afghanistan, Iraq. We continue to fire on Iraq. Our country's under siege. Somalia, Mogadishu, people remember that. The Sudan, we attacked a pharmaceutical plant. We invaded Yugoslavia.
Let me have you get to your point because we haven't got time for this long list.
Well, my point is that we've wreaked havoc around the world, economically and militarily. And what we're doing now, and then on top of it all, we're arrogant beyond belief, as though we live in this world alone, as far as things like the Kyoto Accords, the UN Convention on Children.
All right, listen, you're getting into stuff that a lot of people, unfortunately, not as filled with. But I thank you very much. Thank you. Bill is in a car in WPRO.
Yes, I'd like to give my opinion of why don't they have make English the universal language for all airport employees like they have in the control towers and the pilots around the world where English is the universal language, which is a very good point.
Yeah, well, that's it's an interesting point, but I just keep thinking this is kind of off the subject, however. You know what I mean? I mean, whether or not somebody can, it might be inconvenient, but whether or not someone can speak English is another conversation about the sociology of our life rather than being able to survive it.
I mean, I drive a cab, and I come in contact with people that speak all kinds of people from around the world.
Sure.
Speak different languages. I've never said, well, hey, I just do the best I can and try to understand.
Sure you do, Bill.
Sometimes it's very hard to do.
I'm sure it is. And your point's well taken. We should have some kind of language. Maybe it'd be, what was that? Esperanto. Remember for a long time they were talking about they would have this language, this separate language called Esperanto.
Yeah.
Which would be like a universal language, but didn't happen. Thanks, Bill, for your call.
Okay, thank you very much.
437-0630, telephone number to call. Kevin is in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, Kevin.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment about the gentleman that was suggesting that maybe the passengers should have overpowered the people. I would assume that he's assuming that they knew the ultimate intent. I would think that common sense would tell you to fully cooperate with
and hope for the best. Sure.
Hope for the best.
Yes.
I mean, normally in a situation like that, full cooperation is usually a best chance of making it through.
Any hostage situation, I think, that's probably what you're looking at.
And to be fair to the people, if they knew the ultimate goal, the best thing that they could have done is just cooperated.
Right.
I mean, they probably did the right thing. I'm sure they had no idea what the ultimate goal was.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. David's in the car, WPRO. Hi, David.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
See your time.
I only have about a minute.
Yes, sir. No, I just like to first off take this opportunity to let you know that you're doing an excellent job on the coverage of this obviously tragic situation here in our country.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And the other thing is, for everybody that's taken a minute or two of their personal time this evening to call in and put in their own 2 cents, I'd just like to ask if we could take a moment of silence and basically, pray for the families. This is such a tragedy, and I'm still shocked over it.
All right, we'll do that. Maybe in the next hour we'll talk a little bit about that too. Okay, David?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your call. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on your singular wireless. First hour down. We're going to be with you until 10 o'clock tonight. I invite you to get on the line and join us. And tell us what you think, and let's have a little bit of a conversation about this. I'd like us to just back up and relax a little bit, though. It's been a stressful 2 days, obviously, and maybe we can think a little bit instead of letting our emotions grab us by the nose and run us around the block. Maybe we can think a little bit and make something happen for each of us. News is next on WPRO in Providence. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. Dave Kane with you until 10 o'clock tonight in a special edition of Talk Radio here at WPRO, live and local, giving you a chance to speak some more about the tragedy and how we're going to make it through and start back on the road again. Megan is in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to have you.
Thanks for having me. I was driving home and I was listening to. I just heard you. I just got home 2 minutes ago, and there were reports that the people who were who were hijacking these planes were speaking English. So I don't even think that's an option. And as for what we're doing, I mean, I think we need to be more aware of who our enemies are, because regardless of what the state or the government says, they know. Like, they knew why these people don't like us, and they know why. They may not know why they did what they did, but they know.
Of course, yeah. You're going to be wise enough to know your enemies and their motives, of course.
And like some of my best friends, English is their second or third language, sure. So that's not even an issue.
Well, that's because you're ecumenical, Megan. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Yeah. Where do you go to school?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you go to school?
St. Anselm College.
Great. Yeah. I know. This is the thing. This is the real world.
And I mean, if this was something that was happening every day, then you can say, oh, this is what you do in this situation, or this is what we do to prevent it. But the fact of the matter is, normal people who respect human life don't do things like this.
Of course, regardless of their background,
regardless of who they are, and people who,
of course,
and where they come from. But people know why. Like, the government knows why.
Mm-hmm.
The people in other countries don't like us and don't appreciate us.
Well, we have a pretty good idea too, Megan. I mean, we know.
No, and I'm not saying we don't, but they know far more than we'll know, and they'll far more than they'll tell us. And then it's things like this happen, and we're like, oh, where did this come from?
Right.
Why would anybody do this to us? I mean, of course you're not expecting this to happen. Nobody expects this to happen. And I mean, my best friend, her father works in the World Trade Center, and he certainly wasn't expecting it to happen.
No.
And he's not blaming people who don't speak English or people from other cultures who come here. I mean, what happened this afternoon in Providence, how people were yelling racial slurs at people.
I know, just hideously stupid.
How is that changing anything? How is that helping our cause at all? Is that taking back what happened?
Right. It does nothing, and it only exacerbates the problem. You're right. And well, how come you're so smart at 19 and us old guys, we haven't quite grabbed it yet? What's the deal?
It's not about being smart. It's about respecting human life altogether. Like, I'm not going to not talk to somebody, or somebody's not going to be my friend because of what they look like or where they're from. I mean, I'm not going to not talk to Arabs now. Not every Arab is causing problems. Just like every person who's in the Ku Klux Klan, black people or African Americans can say, oh, every white person is bad.
Right.
It's where to draw the line. It's not a group of people. It's certain people. And it's those people that you have to be aware of. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just can't be aware of them. And as far as people doing something on that plane, I mean, God, I don't even know. I have no idea what to do in that situation.
I mean, I
don't think anybody can say, oh, well, I would do this or I would do that, because really, when you're put in a situation, you never know.
Well, we all, this is funny because, people always say, well, if I were there, but you can't possibly know what your mind or your heart or your blood pressure is going to do at a moment
you're a
like
mile
that.
high in the air, and there's nobody you can call. You can't call 911. You can't call anything. It's you and everybody else on that plane, and you don't know that situation. I can't even imagine. I just can't imagine, and I have so much respect for those people who gave up their lives and crashed that plane, because that's what they did. They crashed the plane, and it didn't end up hitting its target. And I mean, they lost their lives, and that they're in heaven now. But that's something that people don't even talk about. It's more like who did this, and it's the people who don't speak English, or the people who come from here and come from there. It's not people who come from anywhere. They could come from your backyard, you know what I mean, or your next door neighbor. Anybody. Look at Timothy McVeigh. He came from our own country, and we looked at that as an act of terrorism. And it was somebody who came from our own country. You can never. When you start placing labels on people, that's when you get yourself lost, and that's when you let all your guards down, because you're putting emphasis on this one group when it could come from any angle. And I think that people need to pull together as opposed of separating ourselves from each other. You need to pull together, and you need to trust people, and you need to have more of an open mind and look at people and look at where they come from and want to learn about it.
And how about a little listening, huh?
Yeah, no.
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I don't mean to insult you in any way, but I have belts older than you are, and you're very bright.
Thank you.
I thank you for the lesson.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Star 630 on your singular wireless. Dave Kane with you on WPRO until 10 o'clock tonight. I invite you to join us. Get on the line. We'll chat.
Dreams are nothing more than wishes, and a wish is just a dream you wish to come true.
437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. Star 630 on your singular wireless.
If only I could have.
You and me on the radio until 10 o'clock tonight. My name is Dave Kane. I invite you to join us and talk about whatever's on your mind. We're presuming, of course, tonight that you're going to want to talk some more about what's happened and our inability. We had Megan who talked about how we have to decide that we're going to deal with people as individuals and not for who they allegedly are by their background or their color or their religion or their... We have to start listening to each other and treating people like we are all supposed to be treated, listening to each other. Understanding, and not get this great I am thing going, because it's going to be horrible. Rick is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Rick.
Hey, I just wanted to touch on 3 points real quick, and you can give me a comment after. First and foremost is that, like everybody, to think that the good Lord God would keep the souls of all these people safe and irregardless of their state of grace. Second is, I don't think there should be any large gathering of people for games and sports until the National Security Council and the FBI and the CIA have deemed it relatively safe that this is just a one-time thing, or they can discern that these group gatherings will be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And the last point is that I haven't heard much about that other airline that went down. I think it's real key, maybe, and haven't heard anything about that.
Mm-hmm. I have a tendency to agree with your points. My only concern is, and this is, I don't know if this is ego talking, that American flag-waving ego talking, but I am going to really resent having to wait for Security Council clearance before we can have a ball game again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, that will mean that they have accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, which is to throw a fear of us and change our life.
I don't think it'll take that long.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll take more than less than 4 or 5 days. So
but on the other hand, I agree with your concern about the safety. I agree with that, certainly.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, but that's the only, that's like I was glad to see that President Bush went to the Oval Office to make his address last night so that we could show, and I'm assuming he slept in the White House last night.
Yeah, that's one other thing is about that address.
Mm-hmm.
I was I would have hoped that he would have actually declared war against terrorism outright if he hasn't actually said that. To say it, that...
Yeah, I think we needed a little... Yeah, didn't we need a little bit more rhetoric, a little bit tougher rhetoric?
Yeah, I just wanted him to discern the difference and not to be very specific necessarily, because we don't actually know. We have a lot of clues and stuff, but this terrorism runs deep. This is deep. This is not just Bin Laden faction fracture. Yeah, they're going to get fractured, but the factions are all over. I mean, it's Irish Republican Army. It's a lot of Libyans. It's everywhere.
Of course,
and it's not just one.
And we've been lucky. And we've been lucky so far that it hasn't hit. Well, our luck is over now. Now it's come into our borders, and we have to move on it quickly to do something about it.
Yeah, it's widespread, and they need to really not focus on one thing.
All right, Rick. Thanks a lot for your call.
Bye.
Bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. I'm very thick. I'm very thick. And I really want to be defiant in this area of not allowing terrorism or fear or threats or bombs or airplanes and buildings to take away our freedoms, to allow us to become so second-guessed that we think twice about attending a baseball game in an arena, in a ballpark. We fear flying. We avoid public transportation. We look with a wry eye and a fear at everybody who doesn't look just exactly as we look. That's what the real theft is going to be, The real theft here won't be the building. It won't be the trauma to the stock market. It will be in how we think and feel and react to our surroundings and our world and our life now. We'll think differently because, for so many years we thought, well, that'll never happen here. That can't happen here. Even the bombing of Pearl Harbor was in Hawaii. It was off the mainland. It wasn't here. Now it's here. So things change. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Steve is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Steve.
Hello, how are you tonight?
Yep.
I just want to reiterate some words that were spoken at the funeral of President Kennedy back in 1963. Secretary of State Mansfield stated that we as a country will laugh again, but we as a nation will never be young again. And I think it's going to be a period of time before we feel comfortable going about our daily activities.
Yep.
Because the country has become used to conveniences in our everyday lives.
And the freedom of those conveniences.
Absolutely.
The ability to go do something.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I feel if anything that was accomplished by this, it was that the nation has been drawn together.
Now, if we can only keep it that way.
Absolutely. And I do hope and I pray that we as a nation will be able to overcome this tragedy and get on with our everyday lives. They're preaching to us to stay calm, to go about our everyday business. And until we are able to come to terms with the fact that our government and the governments of other countries are doing everything they possibly can to overcome this particular tragedy and prevent it from ever occurring again, until we become comfortable with that knowledge, then we as a country cannot move forward from this particular tragedy.
Thanks a lot, Steve. I appreciate your call.
You're welcome.
Mark is in the car in WPRO. Hi, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Couple of things. One, I really think we should have taken care of this guy many years ago when we first had this problem. I don't know how many lives they were expecting to lose before they...
Yeah, but you got to find... Mark, you got to find him. And not only that, it isn't just going to be him, because there will be people to take his place. You've got
exactly.
You've got to do a real clean sweep.
Right, and that's what my second comment. I mean, I feel that a life for life, and I know the Japanese do this, certain type of things, an eye for an eye, ear for an ear. Maybe we should do the same thing, a life for a life. For every life lost, let's take one life from them. Because they didn't care who.
Well, let me ask you this, but wait a minute. From whom? Life from whom?
Once they find out who is actually responsible.
Yeah, but then you got to get them. You've got to find them, Steve. I mean, Mark, you got to find them.
Well, years ago they had the CIA that was very well at doing this sort of thing, and then they didn't allow them to do this any longer by a president years ago. And maybe they ought to.
Well, there's been talk, there's been a lot of talk about that lately, and I'm not sure I disagree. Where, we have wanted to respond, but we haven't wanted to get our hands dirty. We haven't wanted to be in the mud. You know what I'm saying? We've always wanted to be above board, and and as an example, not take innocent lives wherever possible.
I think that if we don't do something, then they're going to look at us like that little hurt dog cowering in the corner, and it's just going to open the door for them to do it all over again.
All right, Mark, thank you very much.
Next time.
Thank you. Ann is in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, Ann.
Hi, I'm a first-time caller.
Yes, ma'am.
I just got out of work. I've been listening to your show since I've come home, and I just wanted to say a few things. I'm proud to be an American. I also kiss this ground that I walk on, and I think everyone in Rhode Island should have took maybe 11 minutes of time today, whether they went into work late, to have a moment of silence for your own prayers and prayers of other people. I raised my American flag today going to work, and people had beeped at me and looked at me, and they were thumbs up. It was the only thing that was hard for me yesterday is my son turned 11, and his birthday was on 9/11, and that was a very difficult thing to explain to my son what had happened. He had so many questions, and he thought his birthday was a bad day. And I said,
how old is your son?
He's 11. He turned 11 yesterday on September the 11th. And
well,
it was a difficult, situation where, we explained to him, well, hopefully there'll be some good out of this.
Well, of course. There will always be good out of tragedy.
And working in a public forum, we can't cast stones. You can't cast stones. You can't, I work with public every day, and it is no one on this earth, especially if they live here in America, has no right. They have freedom here. They should not be judging people. They should be very lucky that they have the freedom and are eligible and to be doing things that they can, where in other countries they can't. And I just, I think as a nation we should be strong and support everyone. And all I can say is keep safe, God bless, and like I said, kiss the ground you walk on.
All right, thanks, Ann, and tell your son I said happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye now. John is in the car on WPRO. Hi, John.
Good evening, Dave. This is the voice from your past. How are you?
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm okay, sir. I'm wondering if we as a nation now would start to consider ending our dependence on Middle Eastern oil.
Yeah, that would be one of the things we should be looking at, huh?
I know it would be a huge undertaking, but you know what? I'm tired of even considering what they think over there and the diplomacy that has allowed these terrorists to be harbored, to be supported. And we get these speeches from the leaders of the Arab nations about, we condemn these actions, but I'm wondering if they're really truthful and these Arab nations in some way, shape, or form are supporting people like bin Laden and his followers. I think we as a country, if we are truly the greatest country on this earth, the strongest, the mightiest, why do we allow ourselves to be so dependent upon oil from a foreign land?
We should be more self-sufficient and do something to make sure that we guarantee that sufficiency.
We were first to the moon. Why can't we be first to harness the energy from the sun or from the wind or from coal or the ground? Good old American ingenuity that, I grew up hearing about.
Let's find out.
My next question is, I'm 36 now, maybe a little bit too old to serve. But if I was skinny and strapping and just as gay as I am now, I shut my mouth for the good of my country and served and went wherever I was told to. And then after it was all over, I said, you know what, by the way, I'm gay. Is my government going to kick my ass out of the service.
Well, they've done it before, John, to people. There are many people in our services and have been over the years who were gay and said nothing. They remember they threw out the woman that was she a colonel?
Yeah, Margaret Camelot.
Yeah, they threw her out after, thanks very much, we'll see you later. It's like having dinner at your house and then saying, I'll see you later, you know?
So,
yeah.
It's just a wrinkle to the cruller. But, if I was 20 and strapping and strong just like I am now, or I was when I was 20, what's a gay guy to do?
Well, when I heard an induction physical at one time and heard a doctor say to an inductee, "You're healthy enough to take a bullet."
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, John.
See ya.
Bye. Dave is in the car, WPRO. Hi, Dave.
Hello, Dave. First of all, I'd just like to say my heart goes out to everybody, all the victims and everybody. I hope they're coping okay. I don't know how they could be, but I'd just like to mention one thing. If this is the last attack that we have on this country for 100, 500, 1,000 years, I would just like to reiterate, we cannot get laxed again, ever, on anything. I mean, I just, I think that sometimes time eases people's, feelings about some things, and I just think that we just cannot let any amount of time go by, and, we cannot let down our guard ever, forever. And that's pretty much all I have to say, and
thanks,
God
Dave.
bless everybody.
Appreciate your call. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO. 1-800-321-WPRO. 1-800-321-9776. Star 630 and your singular wireless. And we're talking about a lot of things tonight. We're talking a lot of aspects of this. And I have a couple of things that I've been meaning to bring up as part of this, and I'll do it maybe after the next break. Lines are clear right now if you'd like to jump on. Other than that, it's you and me until 10 o'clock tonight. You're listening to WPRO. My name is Dave Kane. We'll be with you until 10 o'clock tonight. And we've got your calls coming in at 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO. And star 630 on your singular wireless. ABC News has an update on the half hour, which we will take to let you know what's going on and the progress being made, etc. And then we will take your calls in about 2 minutes. So if you're on the line, hang on, please. We'll get to you. And if you'd like to call in, you may do so at 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO, or star 630 on your singular wireless. ABC News with an update is next. 437-0630, the telephone number to call. AJ is in Warwick on WPRO. Hi, AJ.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I just got a question for you.
I'm listening.
I mean, everybody's talking about all this, striking back and everything like that, and everybody just, I can understand how people feel. They just want to go out and get revenge, but I think a lot of people they're overlooking the bigger scope of things here. We've got all these people in New York that are just, they're dying for help. And it's like, it just seems like not enough thought's going into that, and everybody's too wrapped up into revenge and, just getting...
Well, actually, I heard today that they have all the volunteers they need, as of this morning at least. They've got a lot of people right in New York. The blood bank here in Rhode Island has asked that people wait until next week to give blood because they've had all of the blood that they, can muster.
Right.
I think people are concerned. I know what you're saying about we're hearing an awful lot of saber rattling. You're right, and maybe we ought to be thinking about how to start to regroup.
The other thing is too. How much better are we if we do go after them?
Well, let me. It's interesting you bring this up because I was having this conversation with someone today, and let me. I am always getting jumped on this radio station because I am against the death penalty. I am totally against the death penalty. However, when it comes to self-defense, when it comes to acts of war and terrorism, I have a different attitude in the sense that if we can get to the people who have caused this and make it clear to the world that this is not a good idea to mess with this country.
Right.
When the Iranian crisis happened, I don't know if you remember that they took them into the U.S. Embassy in Iran. Mr. Peacenik here, Mr. Anti-death penalty, I wanted to strafe an area around that about 2 miles And then I wanted to announce, had I been president, my fantasy was to announce that we have drafted everybody who's in that building who is an American. So they're now part of the military. You have 48 hours to release everybody in good health, or we're leveling the country.
Right.
I mean, that would have been my, right or wrong, that would have been my response. And I think that when you do something like that, what happens is these terrorists say, you know what, we're not screwing with them because they're crazy.
Right.
And I think unfortunately, I think that is the only way to stop this. It's the only, and I feel sad that I hear myself say it. But the guy Tony Blair in England, said that this was not an attack on the United States. It was an attack on the free world. And this is why you're hearing Russia be on our side. You're hearing Germany be on our side. You're hearing England, of course, and France because this is going to be much bigger than just us.
Right.
Because this is the old expression there, but for the grace of God, or, what you do to the least of these, you do to me, And who's next?
I mean, I as a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get onto a fire department myself. I work as a firefighter in Coventry.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of know what people are going through, and it's like I can feel the anger, but it's like everybody's all riled up, but they don't know who to aim it at.
Yep, exactly. But at least we can
just
find...
go out and pick the first one that has a turban on their head.
Exactly. Therein lies the frustration, right? Therein lies the frustration, and it's too bad because, what you just said as an example is an example of our ignorance, that we presume that somebody who is, as an example, is wearing a turban has anything to do with this or cares or has a dog in this fight.
I mean, that's all I've been hearing all day.
Yes.
They're wearing a turban, shoot them off the
it's just ridiculous.
It's like
idiocy.
I mean, people need to just realize that this is what separates Americans from terrorists, is that we need to sit back and we need to just calm down and really rationally take a look at this and find out where this came from, who did it, and then, I mean, I'm sure there's other ways to get the people that we need to get without going into a full-scale war. I mean,
all right, AJ. I thank you for your help.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bob is in the car, WPRO. Hi, Bob.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Let's real quickly. First of all, I listen to you occasionally, and I really agree with you on many things.
Good for you, Bob.
Glad to hear your view on this. I'm pretty impressed with you tonight. Can I take a minute to tell you, I was reading a book recently about the mindset of people in the Mideast, and there's a Bedouin little proverb, a little story that kind of sums up where they're coming from, and maybe we need to adopt it. An old man was given a turkey. He was told that turkeys are good for virility, so he spent a long time raising this turkey and fattening him up, etc. And one day someone stole his turkey. He told his sons, we have to find a turkey. They said, don't worry about it, it's just a turkey. Well, several months later, somebody stole their camels, and they came crying to the father. They said, they stole the camels. And the father said, look, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Just some camels. Well, it went on, and eventually they lost everything they had, and their sisters were murdered, and etc. And they came into ruin. And they said to the father, how did this happen? And he said, because they stole the turkey and we did nothing.
Yeah.
And the moral, I mean, in case people don't get the drift of it, because I cut it short, is that the mindset is you can only deal from a position of power. With the mindset of a lot of
and another example of that is an old expression, which is the death penalty only works for double parking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. It's not about the turkey; it's about the audacity to take it.
Right, and people don't realize also, when Egypt agreed to come to the peace table during the peace accords, the only reason they even considered coming was they had won a small battle in the Sinai, which gave them the ability to say, we were victorious at some level and we can come. They will not come to a peace terms or whatever if they're defeated. It's a whole mindset of pride, of machismo, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And listen, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but how is that different from us?
It's not.
All right.
No.
But there's the problem. But there's the problem, right, Bob? I mean, there's the problem. We're all that way.
No. All right, let me rephrase that. It's not different from me or maybe you from what I'm hearing tonight. But there are a lot of people that are saying this should be talked about. This should be negotiated.
I understand what you're saying. And you know what? This is. Let me give you one now. Let me give you a little story. You know the story about the old man, the old farmer, and he's got a mule, and the mule is sitting in the middle of the street. And he's trying to get the mule to move, and he's pulling his face, and he's pulling it, pinching him, and he's pulling the hair, and he's dragging the chain, and the mule will not move. And a city slicker comes by and says, your problem is you have to reason with the mule. You have to explain it to him. You have to chat with him. When you explain to him why you want him to move and how it will benefit him, he'll cooperate. And the farmer says, oh, you're going to, go ahead, reason with my mule. And the city slicker picks up a 2x4 and slams the mule right between the eyes. And the guy said, wait a minute, I thought you were going to reason with him. He said, I am, but first I'm going to get his attention. And what we got to do, right, and what we have to do is first get their attention, and then there is place to talk.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, thank you.
My God, we agree.
Oh, you better get to church, Bob. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
437-0630. Glenn is in Brighton on WPRO. Hi, Glenn.
You're a schmuck.
Thank you.
Hey, I never thought I'd live long enough to hear you on at night. This could become a habit for me.
I doubt it. Not for me, it couldn't.
I love it.
What's up?
Well, I think the reason we're all frustrated is how do you bring people to justice who are suicidal? In other words, all the people who did this are dead.
Well, yes, but the people who supported them and said to them, we'll hold your coat, you go fight, are still alive.
The ones that sent them, you mean?
Yes, the ones who trained them, the ones who convinced them this was a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't just those people. Certainly not. It isn't even the people who, just the people like Bin Laden. We keep talking about Bin Laden, like suddenly if we could slash his throat, everything would be okay. That's a misnomer, too. That's not going to happen.
Because someone else will just spring up.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be just more of the same.
War.
Yeah, so we need to realize that, and we need to do something about that. We should have made us, I mean, this sounds, I know, people who listen to me say, is this the Dave Kane I know? But, dealing from a position of, first I'm going to get his attention,
Right.
And that's what we have to do. And we should have done it in Iran when that happened. We should have made such a stink that nobody would ever think of doing something like this to us for fear that everybody would be gone. All of a sudden we saw, I mean, although he was covert about it and he's still active, Mr. Gaddafi quieted down real easy when we got his tent. Unfortunately, and it's horrible to say that, the baby died, his child died.
Right.
But you need to be able to get to people at something that matters to them.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say for Reagan. He didn't pussyfoot on foreign policy.
But if you see these people, I mean, they believe themselves to be in a religious war. They believe themselves to be right and have might. They believe that Allah or God or whoever is on their side. They are really dedicated to it, as evil as it may be in your opinion. But you cannot, and this is the problem that you brought up, which is, these people don't care. They don't care. They get on that plane knowing they weren't getting off. Whether it went into the World Trade Center or into the ground, they knew they were not getting off. The kamikaze pilots, it were the same.
Yeah. Do you agree with me this is the first day of World War III, potentially?
No, I don't. I think that what's going to happen is we're going to have a lot of chazarai, but, this is not a country that did this to us. It is a people. It is a people. It is a group of people, members of other people that did this. These are radical nutburgers who have their own agenda and who even disagree with their own quote, their own kind.
Well, that makes it scary because it's not conventional.
I understand that, but world wars you have to have between countries.
Yeah,
I mean, this is going to be, it's going to be a terrorist war. It's going to be something entirely different. Yeah. Entirely different. All right, buddy?
All right.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Andrew's in a car on WPRO. Hi, Andrew.
How you doing, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Just listening to what you're saying, it seems so conflicting because there's no answer. You're saying, you got to send a message and smack the mule, but who are you smacking? Like you just said yourself, there's no country.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I just outspoke myself, didn't I, Andrew? Huh?
You did.
Absolutely.
It's so insane. It's just absolutely insane and sickening because, I mean, I heard so many people, how can you let this happen? How can you not stop this? But maybe this is 30 guys meeting in a room and putting it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But here's the thing, Andrew. Here's the thing. in order to do that, you need the support of other people. As the president said last night, and the thing that everybody's making the big noise about today is that he said those who support or hide, will be treated as if they had done it themselves. So one of the ways to diffuse this, or to try to diffuse this, is to take away their support system. Take away those people, and this is what I mean about going in there, as the president suggested, by the way, that, if you helped them, if you held their coat while they fought, it's just as if you did it. And so we're going to come in, and if your country or your people harbored this guy, watch out. And now they won't have their support system.
I hear you.
I mean, that's the only I can think of.
The whole death penalty thing, and resorting back to that, and I can't say I've heard you a lot, but I kind of agree with you coming from that point of view. It's difficult because I want it to be like, okay, they're cheering in the streets of Palestine, drop a bomb on all of Palestine.
Yes.
That's just a feeling you get, but
it's a feeling, but it's not. It doesn't make any sense.
It's not rational. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, and that's the emotional response. As an example, if Ben Laden was the guy, and if we knew that if we could get him, all of that would stop. Okay. Then I would get him, and then I would be against his death penalty. I would want to put him in a cell with a pot, and you know what I mean? And that's it. I would still not want him dead because of the attitudes I have about the death penalty. However, because he is at large, and because he is the person we're assuming now that that is mitigated caused all of this, I want it stopped. And if that's going to be the only way I'm going to do it and deliver a message at the same time, then I'm willing to do that.
It's almost like the scariest thing that's going to come out of all this is that they're going to change plane regulations, and that's that.
Well, it's going to be more than that. Yeah, it's going to be.
I hear what you're saying, but it's going to be more. But it's like we learned such a hard, sick lesson. But like you said, it's fanatics. It's people that don't care if their own people die because they feel like they should be doing these types of things anyway.
Right. So the only way we have is to go after the foundation or the support system of anybody. It's like in this country. If you harbor a criminal, you can be put in jail. If you don't cooperate with the law, I mean, it's not dissimilar to that. Yeah. You are, you contributory negligence, contributory to this act. If this guy has a place to sleep the night before he gets on the plane in Logan, and it's your apartment in Boston, guess what? You know what I mean? You're going.
Godspeed to us, I guess.
I guess so. Thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, phone number to call, as you heard. You and me on the radio until 10 o'clock tonight. Dave Kane in a special live and local edition from WPRO, keeping you informed and also giving you a chance to vent and talk more about the events of the last 24 hours, 48 hours, going to be soon. Dave is in a car in WPRO. Hi, Dave.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hey, you're sitting here saying that you got to take out the foundation. You've also got to remove the head. But part of the problem is, as soon as you remove the head, there's somebody else there to take its place.
But that's why I said that if these guys don't have, if you can take out their support system as well, I agree. Okay. But if you take out their support system, if they can't stay, if they can't go through a country, if they can't find arms, if they can't, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, any place that you find, they bought a screwdriver.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but here's the other problem.
Yeah.
We're living in a free world, okay? And I'm sitting here teaching my son how to play baseball, and they're teaching their kids how to fire rifles.
Right.
So where do you stop? There's going to be more heads to take that snake's place.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But you're going to find that the support for these type of terrorist acts is going to wane when those people who have supported them, who have founded, have something to lose.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't really care. We every day in the paper, you pick up a paper, and you see in the paper how there was another bombing in Israel, or another bombing in Jerusalem, or another bomb. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it, and then you go to the box scores. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the same thing is true over here. When those people, I mean, some people, a few of them were rejoicing, but when they see what's happened over here, they're not really, we're not anybody to them any more than they are anybody to us. They're just some nebulous something. When all of a sudden these people have something to pay for these acts, they will police themselves. And this is not going to be done overnight, by the way.
No, it's going to take quite a while.
Yes, it is. But I'm just saying, I'm going to say to you, if I know you're going to go pick a fight with a guy, and you want me to lend you a stick, and then he finds out I gave you the stick that you beat him with, and he's coming to my house, am I going to give you that stick? Hell no.
No.
I mean, I know that's an oversimplification. Please understand, but I'm just analogizing it.
Yep.
And I think that's where we have to go, because we can't find him, and like you say, we take him, there's another one. But if there is a price to pay for that poor, toothless old broad with the black kerchief on I saw yesterday, jumping up and down, you know what I mean? If all of a sudden she's going to lose something, or her house is gone, or her car, or whatever the hell she's got, all of a sudden she's going to think twice about cheering and about helping somebody do this.
How can't we find him when you have CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC? They all seem to have no problem finding him.
Well, there were reporters that followed him around for a while, right? I mean, that's where we got the videotape, right?
Yeah, how can we find him if they can?
Well, here's one of the things that was interesting to me that somebody was saying in the anti-terrorist movement, or the terrorist movement. One of the things he said is about the United States. Now, I didn't think I understood this right, but listen to this. That there are certain things like the undercover people, the double agents, they do not, listen to this. Now, you're going to think I'm making this up, okay? They do not pose as journalists, and they do not pose as clergy. Because it's considered to be, you just don't do that. Yep. Now, I think the reason you don't do it is because all sides want the journalists to be safe, quote, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And nobody wants to kill a clergy person. So the reason they don't do it is because they endanger the clergy for the next time, and they endanger the news people. But I mean, when I heard that, I couldn't believe there was actually rules for doing this. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
There's rules, but they'll do a 767 into a building.
Yeah, you know? but you don't do that to. Yeah, I mean, that's like saying, well, that's like, that's like in prison when you got these guys that will slash your throat as well as look at you. But if somebody goes in there as a pedophile, he's got deep trouble.
And I turn around. My mother's 62 years old. I turn around and I say to my mother, Mom, the answer is to bomb them, but you're going to kill people. You're going to kill women and children.
Yes.
And when you go back to World War I, World War II, it's all collateral damage. And then you look at what they've done. They've determined that collateral damage is okay to have.
Yes.
So we've got to stop playing by their rules.
Well, wait a minute now. I mean, I don't want to get started, okay? But just as an example, we determined that as well when we bombed Hiroshima.
Right.
And when we bombed Nagasaki.
Yes,
we made that determination as well. So we are not without sin on that one. Although people will tell you, of course, that it shortened the war and saved lives and da-da-da.
Hundreds of lives.
However, we did do that.
Yes, we did.
So we look at them and we point to them and we say, how could they do that? And we have in our history interning Japanese Americans, and even though we say the end justifies the means, maybe, okay. But we point to them now in this day and age, and we say, how could they do that? You just said it. How could they do that? Well, this country did it.
That's right.
Because we deemed it to be for the, quote, greater good.
Well, under the Reagan administration, if my memory serves me correct, Osama bin Laden.
He worked for the CIA, didn't he?
By the CIA.
Yeah, because he was against the the Russians in Afghanistan.
The Russians in Afghanistan.
Sure.
We also supplied them with all the weaponry.
And now you have the Russians cheering
for us.
For us against, this guy bin Laden, because he was responsible for a lot of Russians biting the dust.
That's right. What a strange world we live in.
Well, it's just a matter of when the bell rings, everybody change a chair.
Yep. All right, you take it easy.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Tain't easy, McGee. It's very strange. We would like to look at ourselves as pure. We would like to look at ourselves as being above the fray and better than those people, and we would never do this and we would never do that, but that's just not true. Depending upon the circumstances and the realities of the world, decisions are made. And just because we are doing, this was a conversation somebody had earlier about what we have done ourselves. Nothing is black and white. Nothing is simple and easy. One of the things I did want to tell you about, by the way, was, we've heard, and I don't know if this will be of any solace to you, but we've heard about the horror of that plane going into the towers and the poor people, and I concur and I agree. However, for your knowledge, I just want you to know something that I've learned for myself, is that when people go through a horrible physical trauma like that, they never know what hit them. They don't feel pain. They don't feel the burns. You'll hear about people in aircraft and being decapitated, etc. I want you to know that I know from personal experience that when you are in a terrible accident, a terrible crash like that, and you have been seriously injured many times, most times I would guess you never even know what hurt you or what hit you, if that's any comfort to you at all. Nathan is in Providence on WPRO. Hi, Nathan.
How you doing?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? I've listened to your station since this stuff happened.
Yep.
And I heard some good stuff, heard some bad stuff. But, like I said, a lot of people aren't looking at the big picture. Big picture being, a lot of people say it's political.
Nathan, we're running out of time. Can you get quickly to your point, please? What are you going to say?
Well, what I want to say is, what had just happened.
Yeah.
All right, it happened. All right, now.
Nathan, you're taking too long. I'm running out of time. I got to go to news. What is your point? Hurry up.
See, that's what I just told the guy that when I called.
Okay.
Said,
but we're running out of time, Nathan. What is your point?
I'll call you back.
All right, thanks, Rich. You gotta realize, this is a radio show, and you can't just, you've got to get to your point, please. I don't mean to be rude. I'm glad to hear from you. But you really need to understand that we have to, move along and get this stuff done. Okay? Thank you.
Kane and Company is adult in nature and is not suitable for all audiences. The content of this program is one that a truly free society would not attempt to censure or suppress.
Final hour of the special edition of Kane and Company tonight on WPRO. Giving you a chance to talk about the events of the last 36 hours or so. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, and star 630 on your singular wireless. This is WPRO Radio, live and local until 10 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow morning, Ron St. Pierre and the morning news team will be keeping you abreast of all the current activities and changes, etc. Then Steve Cass, and then Rush Limbaugh and Dan York again. Giving you a chance to tell us what you think, speaking about what you'd like. You tell me. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Maybe we're talked out. Maybe we've said it all. You think we have already? There are a lot of stories of people who were supposed to be on Flight 11 that, through a series of circumstances, missed the flight. People who were speaking to someone in the World Trade Center when the trouble started on the phone. All kinds of odd coincidences. It's funny sometimes when you stop and think about your life. You think, you know what you want. You say, dear God, please give me this. Dear God, please give me that. You pray. You ask, you request, you think you know what's best for you. You think you know what's best in your life. Don't let me miss that flight now. Dear God, please don't let me be late. Don't let me miss that flight. Don't let me be late. And then you find yourself in a fender bender in Boston. And because of that, you miss the flight. The flight that later on flies into the World Trade Center. Sometimes we think we know what's best. Jim is in a car on WPRO. Hi, Jim. Jim?
Hello?
Yes, you're on WPRO.
Hey, how you doing there?
Good.
Yeah, I had a question. What do you think about that, the delicate balance that there's going to be between, what the media needs to report and what, might or might not hinder the investigation? Because, the public's right to know is definitely a major concern, but on the same token...
Yeah, I think somewhere, like anything else in this world, Jim, I think somewhere in the middle is the truth. I think that, yes, we have the right to know. Whether or not we have the right to know on Thursday morning or Friday night is the other conversation. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want... See, this is the other thing here's another thing that I think is going to harm us. When I say harm us, I'm talking about our standard of living, our standard of life. The media's right to know, our right to know, is of vital importance.
Right, absolutely. But the thing is that when you look at situations where, time is of the essence in the beginning of an investigation, and sometimes, the public's right to know, although it's, it has its right to know, you don't want to, you have those few cards in your corner where you don't want to let those go because it might, cause a bump in the road that you can't get back.
I think those things have to be looked at as you go. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think it's a per situation, And although I am very adamant about people's right to know, and we want to know what the left hand wants to know what the right hand's doing, but you don't necessarily need to know today.
Right, exactly.
As long as we know when it's over what happened in all fairness and all openness.
Exactly, because I think the general public would feel much better down the line if it's the best possible outcome, if there can be a good possible outcome out of this.
Yes.
Because, maybe right now they want to know more than they're given, but on the same token, I think in time, I think that the public would actually become hostile knowing that they, something was given out that shouldn't have, and that caused authorities not to be able to locate the people responsible for it.
It's kind of like don't spoil my birthday surprise. Keep it to yourself until after I open the present.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, thank you.
Bye-bye. Sam is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Sam.
Hi. Dave, I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How many Muslim lives do you think we lost in this occasion?
Muslim lives. Interesting. I'll bet there are many in that building.
Just for your information, most of the people who work there as catering, car service, taxis, they are all Muslims.
Yes.
And they are all U.S. citizens.
Yes, sir. Yes,
we condemn this as much as anybody else.
Of course.
I don't think we should take it, and the Muslims follow Americans, that they are living in this country, and start stereotyping them.
Well, that's true of everything, isn't it, though, Sam? I agree with you. People don't realize that, what do they think? Everybody that was in that building was white Anglo-Saxon? That's crazy. And the people who perpetrated this didn't care what religion anybody was in that building, did they?
No, they didn't. Also, they're doing it to their own. Look what Iraq did with Kuwait.
Yes.
A few years back.
Yes.
It was Muslims against Muslims.
Yes.
Those are radical groups. They don't represent Islam. Their action, they should be responsible for their own action.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is very similar to Christianity, when you have the born-again Christians who are against abortion, and then you have those whack jobs that blow up abortion clinics.
Exactly.
They want to save lives, but then they blow up. That's the very same thing, isn't it?
It is. When Timothy McVeigh did what he did, we did not go out in the street and call every American, you are a terrorist.
Yes.
Or look what your cousin did.
Yes. I agree, and I've been trying to make sure we don't do that tonight.
We listen to the news and we find the Islamic Center in Dallas have been shot last night, and thank God there is nobody inside it.
Uh-huh.
But it's sad, though.
It is sad, and somebody, I'm trying to remember what, somebody called the station today and said, why aren't we hearing from the Islamic Center in Rhode Island? And I mean, why would you, what are you going to say? Geez, that wasn't us. I mean, why would you do that? I mean, of course it wasn't them. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, the American public have to know what kind of groups they're dealing with and what is Islam about. To commit suicide in Islam, it's a big sin, and you go to hell for it.
Yes.
There's no way that you're going to go to heaven for it.
Now, explain something to me then. I mean, I know these guys are nutburgers, but explain something to me. How do they get these guys then to do this?
There is something called jihad, and jihad, when you do something, it's over your power, like getting up in the morning 4 a.m. to pray, for example.
Yes.
That's considered jihad. Those people have been brainwashed, and they tell them, if you do this, you will go to heaven. Because
so they are convinced that this is a jihad move.
Exactly.
Yes, I see.
Yet, if we go back to our sunnah, which is a tradition of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in those days when we had the wars, the women and children were never harmed, was never touched. And the men, if they are unarmed, they used to be as prisoners of war.
Yes.
And after this, they returned them to their people. And even if they wanted to live among Muslims, they were given the choice either to live as whatever religion they were, with protection of Muslims, or they could leave.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually had Muslim troops protecting another non-Muslims. They were among them, not to get hurt in a Muslim war.
Yes.
That's back in the Prophet days.
Well, we have a saying in this country, Sam. There's a sucker born every minute.
Exactly.
And these guys have been sucking into some real crazy stuff, huh?
Well, I just hope it doesn't get into like Beirut, like Lebanon, because I live here. I'm an American citizen. I pay my dues. I pay my bills. And if somebody comes to my home just because I'm originally from the Middle East, try to attack me, then it will become a civil war.
Yes, that's very sad, and I want you to know that I, for one, as an American citizen, am proud to have you here, and I know how much you and your people contribute to this country, and I thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye now. 437-0630, telephone number to call. Audrey's in a car, WPRO. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I have a comment in regards to what the last gentleman that
yes.
spoke with. He made mention about how many of the Muslims and Islamic people were working within that building
yes.
and living here.
Yes.
The people that did this horrible act have absolutely no regard for life whatsoever.
Yes.
That's evident.
Right.
But they also may be viewing the people that have come from even their own country as traitors.
Yes, it's an interesting point.
Here. They're Americans now, and they've actually gone against everything that the terrorists believe in. So for them to take into consideration that they were from their country, that's here nor there.
Well, no, but when you think about this for a second now, wait a minute, because you think about it. Here you have members of whoever pulled this thinking, as you said, that these other people are traitors, okay?
Right.
And then you have Americans looking at them as one of them, right? So where do they go?
You're right. This is an issue. I do know of some people who are of
yeah. So where do they stand? I mean, they're bad guys to everybody.
You want to know something? That would boil down to the individual person. I myself personally do not look at people for color, creed, race, or those things.
No, but Audrey, but his point was to say to the American people, please, because we are Muslim, don't think that we've got anything to do with this.
Right.
I mean, that was his point, right?
Oh, okay, all right.
Do you know what I'm saying? He was saying, look, just because we're Muslim, it doesn't mean, you know what I mean? I mean, we hear this, it's funny because you want to hear an analogy? All of the blacks in this country now who are looking for reparations for slavery, and listen to all the white people saying, well, I wasn't even born then, I'm not going to pay you, right? It's the same thing as these Muslims saying, look, we got nothing to do with this.
Right.
Why are you angry with us?
Right.
Okay?
Well, I understand that, absolutely. I just popped on my radio in the middle of the conversation.
Okay. That's all right.
But I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Audrey. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Ray's on a payphone on WPR. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Dave. Listen, I think that I saw a national news show and they mentioned it, and I kind of agree with it. I think what needs to be done here is that people need to be mobilized in one way or another. World War II, if you remember, there was quite a few ways that the public was mobilized.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they weren't terribly important things that they were doing. I mean, turning off lights at night and collecting rubber and those type of things. But they were something that gave people some purpose. Like myself, I mean, I called up those the two big national volunteer hotlines.
Yeah.
Now, I may be in a list of 400,000 people that have volunteered, and my skills might not be the ones they need, but at least it gave me something to do, some kind of action, and I think that's what people. That's why people are so frustrated, is because they really feel like there is nothing for them to do.
Yes, and it is better to light one candle than the curse of the darkness, and I think you're very well. It's a great idea. But the trouble is, they're all the way there, and we're all the way here, at least to Rhode Island, And you can give blood. The blood bank has suggested that people wait until next week because they've got all the donations they can do now. Several people have gone to New York to help out, but they are inundated with volunteers. Giuliani said today that they had more volunteers really than they need right now.
You know what was one of the funny things is on the American Red Cross hotline. You know what one of the first volunteers other than medical that they brought in was?
What?
Dog groomers. Because of those cadaver sniffing dogs.
Yes.
They're taking a beating in there, I guess.
Oh, no kidding.
And cuts and different things that happen.
Oh, veterinarians and
they're taking veterinarians and dog groomers
Isn't that
clean
something?
them up to get them sent back in there.
Now that would sound on the surface that would sound so silly, wouldn't it?
Well, no.
If you didn't know, if you didn't know what it was for, you'd think, why the hell do they need dog groomers? And that's an interesting point to bring up.
It was interesting. It was interesting talking to the people, and it was also interesting to find out that the tremendous amount of people that are volunteering.
Yes.
I guess even the medical people, really, they're full. They don't need any more.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they don't need any more because they are finding
very fewer and fewer.
Yeah, they're finding fewer and fewer people alive who need treatment, who can help.
Well, they had one. I think the worst thing today I thought I saw was, other than of course the Arab countries with the people. I think that
was a handful of yuck jobbers. You know what I mean?
But the one that really was poignant was when the doctors came out and they just were demoralized.
Yes.
And they said, because the doctor is a very hands-on person. We solve the problem. The person comes in, they're sick, we make them better.
Yeah.
And they just came out of there like, there's nothing for us to do.
I know it's horrible, but as I mentioned earlier in this hour, at least for my understanding of these kinds of tragedies, and I was telling Juan, I was in a terrible car accident about 13 years ago. I was almost killed. And I have absolutely no recollection of it at all.
Really?
And I was severely injured. But my point was to say that, either your brain wipes out the memory, or your mind sees this trauma coming and says, oh no, and shuts down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so these people that went into the building and the plane and the sorrow and that everybody is feeling about the trauma that they went through. I'm talking about the psychological and emotional trauma and the pain they may have gone through. I feel that I know from my own experience that none of that happened, that the lights just went out.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I hope
the mind shut down.
The mind shuts down and and it's just over and it's just like somebody shut the lights off.
Well, they had that guy that rode the 40 stories down.
Yep.
And he didn't remember anything.
Yes.
He kept telling them that he was the supervisor of the World Trade Towers, and they kept telling him there are no World Trade Towers.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is one of the gifts given, us by whomever, the Almighty, that your mind just says, this is going to be too awful to take. My mother used to say shock is a wonderful thing. You ever seen somebody in shock where they just go through the motions like it's like having a chicken get their head cut off and they still run around?
I see people that are grieving that are like that.
They're just in shock. And they just move along and do their thing.
So well, but they're not really taking it at all.
No, exactly. And so I hope that people will get some some solace out of that and some comfort to know that when someone goes through something this horrible, they most likely it was like somebody shutting the lights off in the room. It was just over. And then hopefully they would believe that I believe that, that light at the end of the tunnel thing,
Well,
it's waiting for you.
The governor of New York said today he went to one of the hospitals and he was talking to one of the firemen. And he congratulated him on what a great job he was doing. He said, "What do you think? I'm a New Yorker."
All right, thanks a lot, Ray. 437-0, and thanks for saying goodbye, too. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Star 630 in your singular wireless. For the first time tonight, the lines are clear. If you'd like to join me on the phone. We wanted to be here live tonight so that we could help you to talk about this and exchange about this and maybe clear up some anti-whomever sentiment, which I think we've approached. Our friend Sam, our Muslim friend Sam, enlightened us all on so much. And I thank him for that. And I hope that my own personal experience about the trauma of severe accidents and that and the physical and life-threatening, life-taking trauma of that accident, that debacle in New York, I am confident that none of those people, although certainly frightened when it was going on, felt no pain. And I am of the belief that they are all in a quiet and beautiful place now. It's how I was brought up. It's what I think. I hope I'm right. 437-0630, 1-800-321-WPRO, star 630 on your singular wireless. Dave Kane with you on a special edition until 10 o'clock tonight, talking about whatever's on your mind as it pertains to the World Trade Center or any other observations you'd like to make. We'd love to hear from you. Gary is in a car on WPRO. Hi, Gary.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was kind of just trying to spread the word that, that whatever's behind this, whatever belief thinks that they should strike at American ideals in this terrorist action. I just thought like there's a mission there somewhere to reach these people, not necessarily in just violence, returning violence with violence, even though people can't be allowed to do this. There's got to be justice, but there's got to be a meeting of the minds, and if we're so civilized in America, then we've got to reach out to these people who believe that they're striking at Satan. I mean, if both sides, the other guy is Satan, then there isn't...
Well, I agree, Gary, and I agree with what you'd like to do, and I think that's a great idea.
The problem along the lines of like when the Pope reached out to the person who shot him.
But that's
in their minds they believe they're doing right.
But Gary, that's the Pope, and he's got that luxury, and I think that was wonderful for him to do that. I don't disagree with your premise. The only difference is that you need to be able to deal with these people from a position of strength, not weakness. And so what you need to do is, the only time you're going to be listened to is if you can somehow even the playing field so that they understand that we all have something to lose, and then maybe talks can begin. I wouldn't hold out a lot of hope for the talks, but you can't go in there with your hat in your hand because you're going to get your butt kicked.
No. I mean, I don't think any of the terrorists believe that we're underpowered. I mean,
well, I think that they think that we're not going to do it. I mean, we have shown that we don't really retaliate in the way that we could. So I think that they do indeed think that we're not going to, not in the way that we now are talking about doing it.
I don't deny some action is necessary, but
Now, I agree with you, Gary. I think that's true. First, you and I are gonna have a conversation. That's fine, but you're gonna know that if you mess with me, you're gonna get it back. Now we'll talk.
I don't think that's a possibility of underacting.
Yeah.
I just think it might be too easy just to overact.
I agree, and I thank you for your balance, sir, and good luck to you.
There's a tact necessary also.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. It's really weird, I hear the hawk coming out in me that I know people who listen to me on the weekends, and by the way, I'm on the air on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, 4 to 7 on Saturdays, and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 1. People are surprised, I'm sure, to hear this part of me. But we must be compassionate, understanding, and be able to balance this out, but from a position of strength and even-handedness and an even playing field. Not the other way around. We're going to take a break for ABC News for an update, a couple of minutes, and then we're going to be back on the other side. Please hang on. I'll get right to your call after we do the ABC update so you know what's going on WPRO in Providence, 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, and star 630 in your singular wireless. ABC News has an update for you. We'll be right back. Oh, maybe not. It's not there. Okay. Maybe they're not going to do that now, huh? Okay, thank you. Winnie is in Attleboro on WPRO.
Hi.
Hi.
When the wall came down, I cried. I thought, this is it. This is the end of war, the end of nuclear threat. And I was so naive and so stupid to think that.
Well, no, you weren't because, you're talking about the wall. Germany was... Right. Was applauding us and showing its support for us this morning. Russia was showing its support for us this morning. So you weren't at all. This is a different animal. It's a different enemy. It's a different part of the world. So you weren't foolish at all to think that it was all over.
This wasn't the first time. I mean, the wars in Africa, there's fighting everywhere.
Yes,
Ireland, everywhere. Yeah. I just thought that, gee, we'd have peace now,
Yeah, well,
worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. It's a different world, though, but the thing is that we're not fighting on two fronts. We're fighting on one.
Yeah.
Right?
A shadow, though.
I understand. Thank you for your call, Wynn.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. You and me on the radio until 10 o'clock tonight, special edition of live local talk here at WPRO. Tomorrow morning, Ron St. Pierre and the Morning News team on to keep you further informed, of course. And in addition to that, Steve Cass on at 8:30, Rush Limbaugh and Dan York, all coming your way here at WPRO, where we're keeping you abreast of what's going on, keeping you in touch with each other, keeping you in touch with the world. Okay, alrighty. Hamo is in Providence. Hi, Hamo.
Hi, David.
You're on WPRO.
I know. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
I just want to give my condolences to all the families that died today and yesterday.
Yes.
And the first thing we do just hold together. And I would just say that we should select our targets rather than just pinpoint unknown targets and get mad at people who live here.
Yes.
The reason I say that, yesterday I got first phone call. Somebody called to ask me to FN out of my country.
Oh. Gee, isn't that nice, huh?
Is it nice?
Yeah.
And when Sam called, and I was listening the whole night, when Sam called, he correctly identified to you exactly what's going on, and he spoke very good.
He spoke very well, yes.
Yeah. And he explained to you why this is happening exactly. So we should know our enemy before we just pinpoint our fingers and anger somewhere else.
Yes, of course.
I mean, we're all here, living here. We came from all countries to build this country. And as he said, there's many Arabic people live in the Trade Center. Many Armenian people live in the Trade Center. And I know people who died.
Of course. To think that, this is all about white America is ridiculous because, as Sam said, I mean, these people have killed their own, quote, whatever that means, you know.
They did, but not because they don't know who they did. They just want to make a point, which is wrong, obviously.
Yes.
But we have to understand as American people, and we have to educate ourselves to other people's cultures and knowledge and how they are. We just not assume just because one person did something wrong, the whole nation of Arab or other countries or Armenian or Swedish people are bad.
Well, I'm just telling you right now, you know, it's a good thing you can speak English. I won't even talk to you.
Oh, boy. and earlier, a guy called you. He said something about they can't even speak English.
Yes.
I dare him physically. I speak 4 languages. And I came here speaking 4 languages.
Yes.
And I learned them because I was here. I dare him to speak one other language and go somewhere else to speak.
Good luck. Yeah, I could never do that. I mean, you speak English far better than I could ever speak Armenian. I know 2 things in Armenian. They're both dirty.
Oh, don't say them. Don't say them. Radio, please.
All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Buddy.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jeanette is in Woonsocket. Qu'est-ce que c'est with Jeanette?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
You're on the air.
Oh, I would just like to say a little comment to what you said earlier.
Yes?
I think, first of all, I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And I really hope that the people that all this happened to are with the angels right now.
Of course.
I firmly believe in that.
Sure.
And I've been mourning for 2 days myself over the loss of all these people. Personally, I don't know anybody that, personally that this happened to. But I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we were talking about, maybe going to New York to see some of the landmarks. And we really can't see those now.
Yes, right.
It's shocking. It's shocking to a lot of people.
Yes.
And I just wanted to call and say that I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're trying to be here with you because we're all in it together.
Yes, I believe we are.
All right, Janet. Thank you. And tell you do me a favor when you get a minute.
Sure.
Give a hug to your daughter for me.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, 1-800-321-WPRO, and star 630 on your singular wireless. We're winding down now. It's 9:37, and I invite you to get on the line if you'd like to talk a little bit more. If you have something you'd like to say, maybe tonight we've been able to find some common ground and to understand that these people, regardless of their ethnic or spiritual or whatever their background is alleged to be, others who share that background did not share their actions, did not share their beliefs, did not share their decision, did not take part. And as Sam put it so wonderfully, so many Muslims worked in the World Trade Center. So many. And one of the things that I think we need to do if we are going to grow from this country, we need to drop phrases like, they can't even speak English. Like somehow that's the golden sword that touches your shoulder that makes you somebody. More and more on talk radio over the years I have seen, especially in the last several years, I have seen what I would refer to as the stereotype of the ugly American. The refusal to understand or to believe that this country was made of many, many types of people. That inventions were created by many types of people, all ethnic and religious backgrounds, all skin colors, all knowledges, all histories. We need a wake-up call to realize that we are not the great I am many times. We could be, but we could be in the understanding that there are others in this world who have a lot to offer. The understanding that we are not the only ones. We are not the only ones in the world. The understanding that just because someone is different doesn't mean they're not as good. It sounds so hideous to say this. It sounds so basic, so chillingly stupid. But it's something we really need to learn again. Ken is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Ken.
How you doing?
Good.
I don't you think it's a cultural thing, though? What you're saying is there's a lot of ignorant Americans that express themselves in an adequate way, and I just think that, you have to look at it that if you watch TV and you see the people in the Middle East chanting and cheering, that you're talking about average people there as well, and they're not. I think it's cultural misunderstandings.
Oh, absolutely it is. But when you start off with, they can't even speak English. I mean, that phrase says everything, doesn't it?
I think it's just frustration.
No, but I heard that. I've heard that for years before this happened.
Yeah,
I mean, people come to this country, Ken. They come to this country. They work hard. They work I wouldn't work in a Cumberland Farms. I'm not that brave. No, I'm serious. I wouldn't work all night in a Cumberland Farms when someone can come in and blow my head off for $9.
In Iraq or Iran or some of these other countries in the Middle East, I don't know if you'd be welcome to work in something similar, though.
Well, maybe not.
As an American, I don't think you'd be welcome.
Yeah, but I mean, then that's equally as negative, isn't it? We're supposed to be the country, though, that is the enlightened one. We're supposed to be the country that was built by many, not Iraq and Iran. So to make that comparison falls short.
I think we've been the good guy for so long. I think there's a lot of people that are just frustrated.
Well, only in our own minds we were the good guys. There are many. The great majority of the world does not see us as the great white knight that we believe ourselves to be.
No, I understand that. But I believe if you listen to General Schwarzkopf the other night, he made a good statement. He said, we went out of our way to target only non-civilian targets, military targets. They took painstaking intelligence measures to do that, so they wouldn't harm anybody when they had to respond in the past, like in the Iraqi war and so on. And that these people, these people, but
I know what you mean.
These groups or whoever these cell fundamentalists that are here. They're going on during a business day. They're not even doing it on a Sunday to get a building or something. They're getting it at the highest populated times. They're killing innocent people.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I agreed with General Schwarzkopf when I heard him. I think that's right, but I think we may have to start getting our hands dirty now and give them a taste of what they've wreaked upon us and upon the other parts of the world, by the way. We weren't talking like this before yesterday, were we?
No, we're always talking like we're above that. And
right, exactly. But maybe they're going to drag us into this so that we can go back to that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know what the answer is.
Me either. Listen, Rick, I got to hold you. I'm glad you called, Ken. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Rick is in Woonsocket on WPRO. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Listen, I am in the belief that for every one thing that goes real bad, 10 good things come out of it.
Okay.
For every one horrendous thing that goes bad, I think a million things could come out of it. I've noticed a lot of people getting together in the past couple of days, like they haven't gotten together in many, many, many years. I noticed it in bars. I noticed it in drugstores.
Yeah.
I noticed it in post office, on the streets. I've even noticed the people driving a lot slower on 146 than not, getting to...
somebody started the show with a call like this. You're right. Other people are noticing it too.
But I really think a lot of good is going to come out of this. More good than more bad will come out of it in the long run. And if the worst case scenario, we have to institute the draft all over again, like we did back to the 60s. That wouldn't be such a bad idea, because there's a lot of young men in this country that don't really know each other's ethnic backgrounds. The white Anglo-Saxons really don't know how to communicate with Hispanic. Hispanic don't know how to communicate with Irish or black or Jewish.
Yeah, I understand your point.
We haven't all been together. It's been many, many years since we've all been together in one melting pot in society. So I think that would be a good thing.
All right, Rick, I thank you for your call.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye now. That's an interesting concept. See, maybe that will help out. Wayne is in Lincoln on WPRO. Hi, Wayne.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I missed a lot of the show. I caught bits and pieces.
Okay.
But it's been pretty much the topic. But I just want to say, I hate to sound mean, but I think once somebody decides they're going to kill you, women and your children, it's time to take the gloves off and do what you got to do.
And who would you go after?
I'd go after the people responsible.
Well, how are you going to find them, Wayne?
How are we going to find them?
Yeah.
That's what the intelligence people get paid
Well,
for.
they haven't found them yet,
I'm
Wayne.
not going to find them from Lincoln. Somebody else is going to find them.
Right, but I mean, they haven't found them yet. And then what do you think you're going to accomplish? Who do you think you're going to kill?
I'm going to kill the enemy that's trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm. And you think that's going to stop all the other enemies that are going to take his place?
The thing is, if I'm nice to them, it's not going to stop them. So why would it be so bad if I killed them if they're trying to kill me?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. I appreciate it. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Mark is in Providence. Hi, Mark. You're on WPRO.
Hi. I just want to say something quick, and then I'll let you go. That the gentleman before the last guy that was on the radio said something good's going to come out of this. I want to hear him say that when his relatives are blown to smithereens.
Well, you missed the point, Mark. Mark? See, poor Mark. Mark misses the point. Poor Mark misses the point. There can be good come from all bad, Mark, and you sound very young and probably haven't had a life long enough to understand that, but you will one day. Believe me when I tell you that happens. John is in the car on WPRO. Hi, John.
How you doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent. 2 quick points. One, we just had somebody mentioning the melting pot that we haven't had for many years in this country.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we need to get back to is the original idea of what immigration was.
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for the immigration and the way this country was built, I wouldn't be here, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
And because my family wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But the difference was everybody that came to this country in the late 1800s, the early 1900s, came over here to do whatever they needed to do to make a better life for their family.
Yeah.
They became Americans first, and yet didn't forget their own culture, and brought that culture with them for other people to learn and to appreciate. I mean, what's better than St. Valentine's Day or St. Joseph's Festival?
Yeah.
You know, or any of the Portuguese festivals.
Yeah,
anybody can have a ball.
Your point's well taken.
But we need to be Americans first.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, we're talking about retaliation, and who do we go after? Well, I'm a real hot butt on this. I figure if anybody has ever said I'm a terrorist, then that means they either did this, they know who did it, they're planning on doing it, they've done it themselves. You get the point. And I would pretty much give all the countries where we pretty much know they are an opportunity to ferret them out. If they didn't do it, then I'd go to war with everybody.
Yeah, I think that getting the foundation, getting those people that are holding their coat while they're doing the fighting is a good way to start. Thank you very much.
My point is, I don't want to go after the one guy because we may not find him.
That's
I want to go after anybody that says he's a terrorist because they're all
or anybody that assists in it being done. Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, Joe is on a car phone. WPRO. Hi, Joe.
No, this is John.
Oh, John, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Good.
I got a question for you. I'm a 21-year-old. I'm in college.
Yeah.
I'm just a little worried. What do you think's going to come of this?
Well, first of all, full-time students would be exempt from the draft. At least that's the way it used to be. And I don't think you're going to see this kind of. I think it's a different world. Do you know what I'm saying? In World War II, it was countries. You know, in Korea, it was a country.
No, that's why I'm not worried as much. What I'm saying is, what if they say finally a country was responsible for this?
Yeah, well,
would it all go to that? No.
Well, I think it's a different world now. You know, you're going to see less ground troops. Mm-hmm. You're going to see more something from the air, missiles. You know, there'll still be ground troops, but not like there was, as an example, in 2.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck. All right, thank you. Now here's Joe in WPRO. Hi, Joe.
Hi. I just wanted to agree with you in terms of when you said that the Americans are not viewed as the white knights around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just sad that the average American is not privy to the information as to how the U.S. government policy is affecting all these other people and all the other nations. Even though we are a very prosperous nation and we reap the benefits of a lot, off the sweat of a lot of other backs around the world. And I'm not saying that the terrorists were right in.
No, I understand. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not saying they were right in what they did.
Not at all.
I'm saying that as a result of what the U.S. policy has been for years, and
well, we've been brought up, Joe, to believe that we are the great I am, and that if we do it, it's different. And that's something we have to be reevaluated with.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the policies need to be more above board so that individuals understand that the United States government has been doing some dirt lately, and not just lately, but for years. This stems back,
stuff that we are not aware of, stuff that we have no idea that's going on.
Absolutely.
All right, I got to hold you. I thank you, though.
Okay.
Very much. Here is Mike in a car on WPRO. Hi, Mike.
Dave.
Yes, sir.
I have a problem. I'm with you all the way.
Well, you're in deep trouble tonight, Mike.
I'm with you on this death penalty thing.
Yeah.
But I'm having a total problem. I feel that I need this right now.
You need what?
I need revenge. Can you help me not feel that way?
No, I think that you're going to feel the need for revenge. The problem comes with understanding whether or not you will extract the kind of revenge that's going to make a difference. I mean, are you going to just escalate everything?
No, I wouldn't like to.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is you have to be prudent as to what kind of revenge it is so that you can eliminate it from happening again. And not just here, other places too. I mean, Jerusalem has lived under this for years.
I understand that.
And you have the emotion of revenge, and you're entitled to it. But as long as it stays in emotion and you don't do something nuts, that you're attacking somebody that either had nothing to do with it or isn't going to stop anything.
No, I don't plan on doing anything.
No, I don't mean you. I'm just talking generally.
I'm with you on. I don't believe in the death penalty, and now I feel that maybe it should be.
No, I don't believe in the death penalty. I believe in going in and stopping as retaliation. And I'm talking. There's a difference for me between, for instance, if we had got bin Laden and we put him on trial and we found him guilty and we put him away for life. Don't take his life. Put him away.
Right.
But if we are in a position where we have to go and stop him and find him and stop this carnage, now it's different. Now he's in the battlefield. Now he's in war. Hell, war is hell. See you later.
Okay, but could you give some words to us, the public, that could take this feeling away?
I doubt it. Because I think you're entitled to it. I think you should hang on to it, Mike, and think about it, and it'll get better.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, buddy. I'll see you later.
Pick it up.
Jack is in the car. Hi, Jack. You're on WPRO.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes, sir.
The only thing I see wrong with this whole conflict is the Americans saying that we're going to bring these people to justice. I feel what we really need to do is send our troops straight to the Middle East, send F-16s and a rake, and just bomb these people.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, Jack. And so you're going to bomb a bunch of people who had nothing to do with this, right?
I say we bomb through Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan.
Yeah, so all the people that have nothing to do. No, so the 5-year-old kid that's over there playing now, you want to kill that kid now.
Now, did they think about the 5-year-old kid that was in the daycare centers?
The parents, that 5-year-old kid didn't do that, did they, Jack?
Yeah.
How are you better? Tell me something, Jack. How are you better than they are if you do that?
We are not. We need to take more of their...
How are you better than they are, Jack?
We could stop this from ever...
So you're not better than they are you, Jack? You're just the same as they are. How?
Because I'm Catholic and I'm an American.
Oh, that makes you better. Oh, Catholic is that's better, huh, Jack?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, very bright. Very bright. There's an example of why you run into this stuff. There's a good example right there. I'm Catholic and I'm better. Whew. Bill is in a car on WPRO. Hi, Bill.
Yeah, hi. I was just talking about I used to drive a cab in Washington, and I ran into a lot of friends who were Muslims, and it seems like these, people have mentioned about these people not doing this, and a lot of them that I knew that they own their own cabs, they own convenience stores, and they worked in the two most dangerous professions in the United States, and yet the ones I knew were very hard-working people, and that's my belief in it.
Me too, and I think that too quickly we decide that, well, if you're this, that's it then.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Noai is in Providence. Hi, Noai.
Yes, Dave, how you doing, sir?
Good, thank you.
I'm glad to hear the program. I was in my car, so I tried to reach my house to give you a call.
Great.
And, I just come from church, and my prayer is to find the people who's doing that and to do not blow up a country.
Yes.
Okay, because you have to bring everyone who's doing something bad, you have to bring injustice.
Yes, of course.
So my prayer is to find the one who's doing it, the group who's doing it, for a country, a specific country doesn't pay. Because if you go and blow up a country, the innocent people will die, like us.
Exactly. It's exactly the same. That's why how stupid and foolish that suggestion was by this punk who has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, so that's only prayer I have in my heart to do, because I feel bad. I feel sad when I see something happen in New York yesterday.
Yeah. Where are you from, Noai?
From Haiti.
From Haiti.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I'm glad you've helped us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. Let's go bomb them all. That's exactly what these guys said when they were hijacking the planes. We don't like what that country is, and so we're going to kill a bunch of innocent people. Imbecilic foolishness and a response from... It's the only really dumb call I've gotten tonight. It's the only really dumb call I've gotten tonight. I'm so proud of you. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776, star 630 on your singular wireless. We have about 3 minutes left. If you'd like to call me, we can sneak you in. But you're going to have to be brief in your comments because I want to get everybody in. Special edition tonight. No, WPRO Talk until 10 o'clock. Tomorrow morning around St. Pierre, the morning crew will be with you. And then, of course, Steve Cass on WPRO. Kevin is in the car on WPRO. Hi, Kevin. Kevin.
Yeah.
You're on the air.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to ask, I had heard something on the news about... I thought a reporter had said there were 8 flights that were hijacked, and we've heard about 4 of them, and I'm not sure if...
No.
I don't think none of the news has brought up anything else.
No, you may have misheard that. I didn't hear anything at all like that.
Oh, okay, because I was watching Giuliani's speech yesterday, and a reporter actually asked that question. He refused to comment.
Yeah, there's no report of that, and I'm sure if there were more than the 4, we would have heard about it, certainly by now.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye. 437-0630, 1-800-321-9776. Jen is in East Providence on WPRO. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
The reason I'm calling is I'm a young person, so is that other kid that was on the phone. I just want to say there's a lot of idiots out there.
Doesn't matter what... I know, it doesn't matter what age they are, but you could tell by his folly that it was a lack of age and experience that brought that out.
I work as a cashier, and I hear a lot of things, and I see a lot of things.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of old fools, too. You're talking to one.
Exactly. And they just need to keep some of those comments to themselves, I think, because that's where the trouble begins.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a good night.
You too. Here's Leslie on WPRO. Hi, Les.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
That's good. I've been hearing some comments at work about getting those towel heads.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off totally. I mean, first of all, we don't really know who's responsible, towel head or otherwise, but to just kind of lump everybody together.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, the same reason, Americans, the horrible Americans, that's why we're the recipient of this with that same kind of mentality.
I know. I remember when, during Desert Storm, my nephew made a comment about towel heads once. He was in he was in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm, and I figure it's just like...
It's the same foolishness.
It's the same attitude. Oh. It's like we're gearing ourselves up for a war, and we're kind of like...
Okay, I got to hold you. I'm right up against news.
Oh, okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. 437-0630. I think that's going to be it for us, okay, Juan, because we're not going to have a chance to get into anything else. I thank you very much for being with me tonight. I thank Juan for all of his help tonight. And I just want to let you know that, In the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. I will see you on Saturday, maybe tomorrow night as well, but I will see you on Saturday, 4 to 7, and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1, be the good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Time for us to get into ABC News. Ron St. Pierre and the morning crew tomorrow morning, then Steve Cass, then Rush Limbaugh, and then Dan York. Keep it right here at WPRO, where we will keep you informed, and you and I will get through this. You and us, we will all get through this together. Good night. Thank you.
News Talk Radio 630.